The crack of gunfire shattered the parched silence of the Monterey Plains, dust exploding like a devil's breath as bullets whined past Jack Harlan's ear. September 1871 in San Benito County was no time for mercy. Bandits had dogged his trail for miles, their greedy eyes fixed on the saddlebags he'd wrested from a stagecoach robbery gone sour. Jack's horse, a bay gelding named Rusty, frothed at the mouth, legs buckling under the relentless gallop. Ahead, a weathered gate loomed, vines twisting like guardians over a modest vineyard. He vaulted the fence, revolver barking back at the shadows, heart pounding with the raw thrill of survival. Little did he know, this desperate leap would tangle his fate with a woman whose heart was as fortified as the land. She claimed Jack Harlan, 26 and scarred from the hell of Gettysburg, raining hard, his breath ragged. He watched as Eliza Thorne, 38, and widowed these 7 long years, deliberately tipped a bucket of clear water into the thirsty earth. Her hard green eyes, sharp as sagebrush thorns, met his without a flicker of welcome. She was a sight tall and unyielding, her auburn hair pulled back tight under a wide-brimmed hat, clad in faded denim pants and a shirt rolled to her elbows, revealing arms corded from endless toil. She'd buried her husband, a Union captain, and wrested 50 acres of grapevines from the wild California soil, turning it into a haven against the world's cruelties. But in her gaze, Jack glimpsed something raw, a loneliness that mirrored the void he'd carried since the wars. Bloody fields. It wasn't pity. It was recognition, like the storms colliding on the horizon. She turned away, her back straight as a rifle barrel, but Jack couldn't move. Pride be damned, his horse trembled. 3 days from Salinas without a drop, the September sun beating down like a blacksmith's hammer. Man, he called, had clutched in calloused hands, voice steady despite the ache in his side from a glancing bullet. Just for the horse, I'll pay double what it's worth. Eliza paused by the trough, her storm cloud eyes piercing him anew. She glanced at Rusty, the animal's flanks heaving, and something softened just a hair, like a crack in granite. But she filled the bucket and poured it for her own stock, the water glinting mockingly in the dust. Jack's jaw tightened. That creek to miles east? Horse won't make it, ma'am. Not in this heat. She finally looked at him, really looked, her gaze snagging on the faded scar peeking through his torn shirt and old saber wound from the war. Recognition flashed, and without a word, she refilled the bucket, carrying it to Rusty. The horse drank greedily, and Jack murmured, "Much obliged. You owe nothing," she replied, her voice gravelly, unused to softness, like wind over gravel. Then she was gone, back to her vines, shears flashing in the sun, her touch on the leaves gentle, almost reverent, as if the plants were the only souls she trusted. For days later, the dust of San Juan Bautista's mercantile swirled around Jack as he stepped inside for supplies. There she was, Eliza, bartering for salt and twine at the counter, their eyes locked, a spark of awkward recognition passing between them. She was lean and strong, her fitted shirt hugging shoulders honed by labor, not leisure. Martha Hale, the sharp-eyed widow who ran the store with an iron fist and a kind heart, caught the tension like a hawk spotting prey. "You're the new hand from the old Morrison spread, ain't ya?" she said to Jack, not quite a question. "Contract's up." "Looking for work." Martha glanced at Eliza, who pretended to inspect the twine. "Eliza here's got 50 acres of vines. Could use a strong back. She's running herself ragged since Tom passed." Eliza's head snapped up, green eyes flashing. "I'm fine, Martha. Don't need meddling." But outside, as Jack loaded his horse, Victor Kane's voice slithered through the air like snake oil. Mid-40s, slick with money from cattle deals that smelled of rustling. He cornered Eliza by her wagon. "Your vineyard needs a real man's touch, Eliza. I could help or buy it fair and square." His eyes, cold as a banker's ledger, flicked to Jack dismissively. Eliza rebuffed him with ice in her tone. "I don't need your help, Victor. And the land ain't for sale." He sneered. "Hearing vagrants now? That's desperation." Jack's fist clenched, knuckles whitening, but he held back. This wasn't his fight, not yet. But as Eliza drove off, her hands steady on the reins, he saw the tremor in her shoulders, the weight of a woman fighting alone against wolves in suits. A week later, fate pulled them tighter. Jack found her on the dusty trail, wagon crooked, axle snapped under crates of ripening grapes. Her hands were bloody from fuel lifts. Ramon, her loyal Mexican foreman, a quiet man with a family in town off fetching iron from the blacksmith. She knelt in the dirt, sweat mixing with blood, her auburn strands escaping their tie. Jack dismounted without a word, kneeling beside her, inhaling the sage and sun-warmed scent of her skin. "Let me," he said. "I can manage," she snapped, but her voice thinned with exhaustion. He examined the break, his hands sure from years of makeshift fixes on the trail. "You've worked vines before," she observed, not asking. "Some. 2 seasons down south." Her jaw worked, pride warring with need. 2 weeks. Food and $1 a day. Work hard. Keep quiet. They rigged it with braces and rope, his steady hands drawing her gaze. She felt a reluctant pull, like a vine reaching for sun after drought. But she warned, work and leave. That's all, over the next 10 days. Jack sank into the land's rhythm, mending fences at dawn's first light, irrigating under the midday blaze, harvesting as the sun dipped golden. Ramon, with his cautious nods and shared smokes by the fire, approved Jack's grit. Eliza worked beside them, outpacing most men, her bandaged hands unyielding. Jack watched her, admiring how she handled the vines like lovers, gentle strokes coaxing life from stubborn earth. In her, he saw his own scars reflected. The war had taken his family, left him drifting, but here was a woman who turned loss into defiance. One sweltering afternoon, barbed wire gasped Eliza's arm deep. She winced, blood welling dark. Jack caught her wrist gently. "Hold still." His touch lingered, faces close, her breath warm on his skin. "I'm used to pain," she whispered, voice low. "Doesn't mean you bear it alone," he replied, eyes locking. The air thickened, a dangerous spark in their lonely worlds. That night, in the bunkhouse, Jack tossed, haunted by her warmth, the pulse under his fingers thrumming like a forgotten melody. Was this madness? A drifter like him, falling for a widow twice battle-hardened? Sunday brought whispers at St. Mary's Church. Jack slipped in the back, hat in lap, but heads turned. Eliza sat rigid 3 rows ahead, spine like iron, after service. Victor's voice boomed on the steps, hearing that drifter boy. "Folks are talking, Eliza, a widow and a whelp young enough to be your son." Rage surged. Jack shoved Victor back, chest to chest. "Say it to me, direct." The crowd buzzed. Reverend Callahan, a weary Irishman with eyes weary from frontier sin, stepped in. "Peace, lads. God's house ain't for brawling." But scandal seated, Eliza fleeing with trembling hands. Jack's intervention fanning flames. Midnight winds howled, birthing a ferocious storm. Lightning cracked the sky. Ramon pounded Jack's door. The vines. La Tormenta. They ran into chaos gales, ripping trellises, rain pounding like fists. Eliza was there, hair whipping, shirt plastered, fighting like a she-wolf. She slipped in mud. Jack caught her, bodies pressed, her curves against his hardness. "I can't lose this," she confessed, voice breaking. "You won't," he vowed, hands tightening. They saved most, exhausted in the barn's dim warmth. Eliza shed her jacket, wet shirt clinging, revealing the swell of her breasts, the dip of her waist. She froze under his gaze. "I should go," he started. "Don't," she whispered, raw. The kiss ignited fierce, 7 years of isolation exploding. Her hands fisted his shirt, his tangled in her hair. She tasted of rain and hunger, mirroring his soul's ache. In the hayloft, shadows danced. She unbuttoned his shirt slowly, fingers tracing war scars, drawing shivers. He undid hers, lips brushing her neck, her gasp soft over the rain. Their touches deliberate, bodies entwining in raw connection, her nails grazing his back, his hands exploring her softness, moans building like thunder. It was healing, to broken souls mending in the storm's aftermath. Dawn filtered through cracks. Jack held her, her face softened in sleep. She woke to fear. "Jack, no regrets," he said, cupping her face. "I can't lose the Lantoms' legacy," he proposed. "Marry me. Not for them, for us. I'm fallin' for you, Eliza, since that water in the dust." Tears fell. She accepted, kissing softly, defying all. Late October's harvest fair buzzed in San Juan Bautista. Jack in borrowed vest and shirt, Eliza in emerald dress, curves accentuated, hair cascading. Stares followed, but she held his hand high. Victor blocked them, parroting your sins. Jack's fist cracked his jaw. "That's my wife," gasps. Supporters emerged. Martha, Ramon, even old widow Jenkins, who'd lost her man to the mines. Reverend Callahan defended. Eliza's toiled honest. Jack served his country. Judgment's God's, not yours. A tide shifted, slight, but real. Weeks later, Victor's ambush struck. Hired guns raided at night. Torches flaming vines. Jack drew his revolver, bullets whizzing chaos in the dark. He shielded Eliza, winging one bandit, the rest fleeing as his arm grazed hot. She bandaged him, fierce. You could have died. For you, worth it. Their bond stilled amid smoke. Town council loomed. Victor charged moral rot, pushing sail. Witnesses twisted tales, but defenders rose reverent on Victor's G.